Welcome to Trading Lounge and the SP 500 for the 21st of April. Starting with the weekly on the S&P here. Our primary count has been wave 3 here with an A wave here, B wave here and a C wave here, and then we're looking for a move up. We've got our move up here, but as a bullish move that will continue up here, we need to see an impulse wave, and so far we've got a corrective wave. In that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 waves here, and A, B and C here. It could be counted as 1 and 2 and a third wave still continuing here. It could also be counted as up for 1, back for 2, up for 1, back for 2. As the third wave up here, it could still continue to climb higher through here. But we are at this junction point here, the 50-60% retracement level, and the equality of wave A and wave C here being terminated the 2900 area here. So it can fall from here. So we need to look at ways to move into the short side, if that's going to be the case, but also to allow it enough space to to be able to move higher through here. So let's go in and have a look at this. I'll just go straight to the 4-hour chart here. So with the 4-hour chart here, there's a good case of saying wave A, wave B, and 5 waves up here for wave C here and finishing here. I always figured wave 3 would be a little bit higher here, coming across the 3000 area through here. So to have a top in here, it's okay to count, and I have to say this move up through here, especially this ending structure here, can be counted differently as well, and we'll have a look at 1 or 2 of those. But what we would need to see here is we would need to see an impulse wave to the downside. So an impulse wave is a nice 5-wave structure as such, and then we'll have a counter trend in 3 waves and then move down again from that point. Do we have a nice 5-wave structure here? No, we don't. This could also be construed as corrective at this stage. Yes, we can have down for 1 and back for 2 and down for 1 and back for 2, and the building of a much larger move to the downside here. I grant that. There's a few things that that don't sit very well within these structures here for a top. The Nasdaq has been leading to the upside, so if we just have a look at the Nasdaq for a moment, it's got more range in it and it's just got better form. So from the low here, we can count up for an A and a B and a C wave here, or we can count it as 1 and 2 and 3 here, which looks a little bit better because it's moved. Wave C here has moved higher than its 61.8%, which is about here somewhere, and also the equality between wave A and wave C here is out of whack now. So it's the index that's been leading to the upside, of course, because of Amazon. And as I mentioned with Amazon before, is that there's still further upside for Amazon. So there is still a really good case for this market to move higher, and would need a very clear sort of impulse wave to the downside. But in terms of topping this market here from this low here, counts quite nicely as 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and then 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. So a nice structure here to finish this off here. But at the end of the day, this may not be wave 1 here either. We may end up putting wave 1 on top here and wave 2 here, and then we've got a nice strong third wave here. So we need to be mindful of that, and we also need to be mindful of, well, if that was wave 1 and 2, this is wave 2 low here, and we're coming up here to the top here, then we may only come down to the 8,600 area here and then move higher from that point. Right, so we need to be a bit mindful of that. Yes, we can have a position to go short, and we can look at that, and but it may not get us very far. It may get us to this point, the 8.6. It may get us down to this wave 4 into this space here as well, and also too, it may even come much further down as well. But I just find that a little bit difficult to to grasp at this particular stage when we look at Amazon. So I'll just have a quick look at Amazon here. Let me just bring this across here. And there's other stocks like this as well. So there's a daily chart for Amazon. It's clear we've got 1 and 2 here, and it's clear that we've got a third wave here. So this is just not going to finish here. Yes, there can be corrections here. It may even I think it may even push up into here, into the 2,500 area through here before it has its wave 4 correction here. It may have it from here and drop down to its 38.2% retracement level, which is down here at this particular price here, 2,240 area through here. But the main takeaway here is that the trend to the upside here is definitely not finished, and because it's made new highs above here, then it's got to be an impulse wave to the upside. And there's other stocks the same as this. So I think this is a bit of a lead. And I know banks are weak, so perhaps when wave 4 here comes into play here for Amazon, then the banks that have only risen up a little bit through here, then they can move down from that point. So let's have a look at that. I'll just use one bank, much the same. So this is Citigroup here on an hourly chart here. So, you know, Amazon has taken the top out up here previously, and the banks have just settled here. So while the S&P is going through that, and the Nasdaq are going through a wave 4, if that's the case, then these banks here can finish off, have these as a wave 4 here, so to speak, and come down into their wave 5 here and finish this off here. But yeah, don't go shorting these unless you're under the closest largest number. In this case here, we'll be looking at 40 here. So we want to be nicely tucked under that there for the short trade down to 30 at that stage, which is a nice trade. So this is sort of where the banks are compared to the, you know, some of these stocks that are doing well out of the coronavirus. Yeah, anyway, food for thought. And if I look at the Nasdaq here, then it's possible for this to come down to this wave 4 here and then move up from that point. So it can move down to here and move up. Yeah, so what I'm saying, we can go short, but it can be a trap as well. There's a couple of traps along the way. Do we trade against the trend here? Sure, why not? But let's just make it a smaller trade. So instead of having a larger trade on board here, let's just make them, you know, half sizes at least, and make sure we've got good setups here, because let's just go in and have a let's just get rid of this here. We'll just finish the Nasdaq one off here. So with the Nasdaq here, if we call this the top here, then we could look at this as 1 and 2 here and 3 here, and A and a B and a C for wave 4 and down for wave 5 here. If that is 5 waves, it's a very square structure, I have to say. But if that's the case there, what we can do is I'll just remove these here. Let me just check on the 15-minute chart here, see if I've got this in. Okay, see, it could be from the top here, it can be counted down as 1 and 2 and 3 and some sort of ABC for 4 here and down for 5 here. So also there'll be 5 waves in this little structure here. Maybe there's another little move down into here that would take us on to, that's the 61.8% of the previous wave up, but I'll put that at 8.7 there. So we know that so we know this little leg here will have 5 waves in it. So if we use the 8.7 to be short this stage, so that would be, the market would need to come up, it can either come up to 61.8% here somewhere and drop from here, or we need to take in the 61.8% from this high to this high here and have some sort of corrective move here and then down again from here. But this could also be counted as a corrective pullback here and just continue up here. So I'm thinking that let's just give it enough space. Let's just let's wait for it to sit on this side of the 8,700 and wait for the first low below the level. So there's different ways of looking at that. Let's just this kind of thing here. So the market drops through the level, goes back up and tests it. Now, it may have tested it on this one here and you can go short under this one, but if that fails and the market moves up higher here, that's fine. Then you have to wait for it to come back down and find the next low until you get it. So you bring it up from this low to this low to this low here, that sort of thing. You know, you really need to visually see it locked under these moves here. And it's, if you can read the volume, then it's always nice to look at any move to the upside here as a corrective wave. All corrective waves on lower volume. Okay, so that will be on lower volume in compared to this move through here. So on our website, there's a video there on how to read volume. So that can be very helpful if you're looking at the cash market or the futures market in that regard. So we really want it under that 8.7 there. That will keep us safe at the first step. So I'll leave that at that. And the S&P here. Just before we move to the S&P, this is the cash market for the Nasdaq. And one of the things that sort of bother me about this is just a 1 minute chart on the Nasdaq. The thing that bothers me about this chart here is this particular move up through here is not in 5 waves. So I'm thinking that this here can be an A wave and then a B wave up here and a C wave coming down through here. And that's why I really wanted, another reason why I wanted this here to sit under the level here, because in some way, if this is some sort of A, B, and C wave over here, then it can move up from that point. So that's just one of the, I think of these things and then I try to sort of find ways, you know, around it. So that's what we'll do. But the SP 500 is a bit weaker than the Nasdaq, and it's got equality between wave A and wave C here, roughly. So we'll have a look at that here. So we've got that wave A, or I've got it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or we've got it as A and B and C. You know that story. So, but here we do have equality here. This particular structure here, this is also counted a bit differently. We've got 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 finishing off here. But also, like I've just showed with the Nasdaq on the 1 minute chart, this can also be an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I know it's got overlapping wave structures and it doesn't look like a nice C wave as an A and a B and a C wave here, but it's certainly possible. So what I'm thinking that, you know, if we're trading against the trend, we need to be sure that we're going to be in the right space for the short trade here. And yes, I can see that it's the market's getting weaker here, because as a market starts off, the beginning, the middle, and the end, in this case here, we've got the beginning and the middle coming in here, and then we've got the ending thing here. And you can see how we're getting overlapping wave structures from the low here to the high here. So the market is creeping to the upside, and this one here pulls down below this one here. It's, you know, so it's really creeping at this stage. It's showing weakness, and yes, it can drop. We've got this situation here where the market's tried to find support on this level through here, and now it's coming back to check that support. So that number there is 2,800, which is a minor level 8. So we should use that for the short trade. If that becomes the retested resistance, then we'll be on the short side already. From yesterday, you may already be short as well, and that's fine. We'll have a stop for that there as well. So I'm just trying to understand the bullish side, the bearish side, and come to a compromise on a rational place to look for short trades in this instance. So I'll just go to the 15-minute chart here. So what I'm thinking here, so yes, it is possible to have the top in here and all the rest of it, but once again as well, you know, I counted this down here as 5 waves, and yes, we could look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave in here. We could even put the B wave here if we looked at the Dow Jones. It would make more sense, but here it fits quite nicely. You could even get a triangle out of that. But the other side to this too, why I'm trying to figure this out here, as I just mentioned, all of this can be the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C for the B wave here, and then some sort of C wave here that you know, that has got overlapping wave structures. I've seen it before, and it just means that it's reluctant to come down in that instance. But if that's the case here, then the 2800 here, this would be the place to look to short it at this stage. You may already have a short position in amongst this in this area through here, and that's okay as well, but that's where the risk is. So we have to leave the stop just above that little wave structure in there, and then we also need to look for the 28 here as the resistance here. So even once that this may go up here higher or whatever, but we want that locked under here. That's the main thing. We want that first low below the level, and then that becomes the catalyst for that move down through here at that stage. I mean, there'll be a little 5 waves in here somewhere, probably not finished. So it may even just, that's why I've got the stop out of the way here, because if we've got 5 waves coming down here, we'll go an A, B, C back up to the 50-60% mark, and then we'll go down again. But we want the market to prove to us that it's going down, and by getting on this side of the closest largest number, then we know that we'll have the supply, the sellers on our side at that point. But we've just got to be careful about not getting trapped. I mean, if I had a beautiful 5 wave structure coming down from the top here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then a nice ABC, well then not a problem. You know, we can look to go short. And this is perhaps 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then we'll have an A and a B and a C and then down. But the problem with this is that it's not, you could count it impulsively, even though it's got overlapping wave structures, but it's kind of drifting sideways. It's reluctantly coming down. It's possible, but we'll see. And the other count for this too is down for 1 and back for 2, 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 and then we'll catch it on this side here. Okay, that's that, and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.